Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Pauline Verzosa. President Bongbong Marcos reiterated that the Philippines will not back down against China and other forces. He said this after the China Coast Guard harassed our troops in Ayungin Shoal last week. Despite China's latest threats, PBBM said that we will not fight back by force or intimidation. He added that the Philippines is a responsible country and the government will exercise our freedom and rights in accordance to international law. Some experts and lawmakers are calling for the invocation of the Mutual Defense Treaty with the U.S. China earlier criticized the Philippines for being a pawn to the United States of America. But the president emphasized that we are not choosing sides between the U.S. and China. Maritime security expert Ray Powell weighs in on how the Philippine government views the recent tension in the West Philippine Sea. Here's an excerpt from his interview on The Big Story.
And I'm going to quote because I don't want to get it wrong. This was probably a misunderstanding or an accident. We are not yet ready to classify this as an armed attack. I don't know, and this part is Tagalog, but translated loosely, something like, I don't know, we only saw bolos in an axe, nothing beyond that. What did you make of that?
Well, something punctured the rubber boats, right? It was something sharp. So, now, again, what Malacañang decides to classify this is up to Malacañang, and I'm not here to tell them how to do their business. But, I mean, there were certainly arms brandished, and there was certainly enough of an attack so that it resulted in punctures to the boats. So, but they can, what they choose to classify it as is up to them.
To call it a misunderstanding or an accident, though, does that undermine the situation, or was that just an unfortunate choice of words?
Well,
or maybe a choice to de-escalate?
Yeah, I think one of the things, I'm sure that there's an impulse to de-escalate, and I understand that. I mean, again, it's easy for me to talk about it as an analyst where I'm not in charge of running a country. But I think it's important to remember when China looks at these situations, they look at them as opportunities to reposition it to their advantage.
Correct.
And we in the West will often look at it as an opportunity to de-escalate. And oftentimes, those two things come together in a very unfortunate way. And
could we be possibly talking about a scenario where it's the U.S. side that wasn't ready, and therefore the Philippines had to scale back?
Well, I don't know anything, so I'm not into those conversations. That would be presumptuous of me to speculate on how those decisions were made. I have been advocating for a triggering, if you will, an invocation of Article 3.
I know. You've made the media rounds. You've said it a few times the last couple of days.
And the reason is because I don't think we need to get hung up on whether or not it was an armed attack. Article 3 essentially says if one of the parties, in this case the Philippines, believes that its security or territorial integrity is threatened by armed attack, it can essentially seek consultations with the United States, which I think would be helpful.
China has protested our claim for an extended continental shelf in the West Philippine Sea. Despite having no basis to their claim, China told the UN Commission on the limits of the continental shelf that our claim infringed their sovereignty. The Philippines earlier sought UN's recognition of the 200 nautical mile extended continental shelf in the West Palawan region. According to UN, a country's continental shelf is equivalent to a distance of 200 nautical miles from the baselines. Our 30-page executive summary stated the geological and tectonic data on the Palawan-Mindoro continent and the West Palawan region as the support to our claim. PNP Chief General Romel Francisco Marbil issues a warning against cops involved in pogos. The Philippine Star quoted him as saying that these police personnel will face disciplinary actions. Marbil instead urged the police force to keep their integrity amid the crackdown on pogos. And Business World reports that infrastructure spending jumped in April. Infrastructure and other capital outlays rose to 118.9 billion pesos 2 months ago. That's a 32.6% increase from 87 billion pesos in the same month a year ago. A Filipina was among the over 1,000 people who died due to extreme heat during the Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia. The Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, reported that a 37-year-old Filipino worker based in Riyadh died on June 16 due to heat stroke. She was immediately buried on June 19 in accordance with Muslim customs. DFA has already sent a team to Saudi Arabia to assist 5,100 Filipino Muslims who made the pilgrimage this year. Saudi Arabia has yet to comment on the deaths during the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca, which is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Since Friday, severe flooding in Iowa, USA, has forced over 1,000 residents out of their homes. The northern part of the state is suffering with the most, with 21 counties deeply impacted. Here's the report.
The river rose to historic levels that we've never seen here before, and it's hard to deal with that much water. It's a monumental undertaking.
The town of Rock Valley is starting the recovery efforts after flooding in the early morning caused many residents to evacuate their homes.
We were shocked by the number or amount of water that's hit us.
It's been building up for about a couple weeks. Our river was very high. About 1 o'clock last night, we had a berm kind of break, and the water really started coming up, and it was raining very heavily. We got about 4 inches of rain last night. So water was pouring in from every direction, and we just couldn't keep up.
Soon after the water came in, fire rescue from surrounding cities and Iowa Task Force 1 were deployed to aid in the rescue efforts. Trucks, boats, and even tractors were used to wade through the water.
We did approximately 20 rescues since we've been here. Most of the water's probably to the top of most of the houses, at the top of their front doors. And most people that we evacuated were up on the second floor and we were able to get them down. But there's cars everywhere underneath the water that we don't see. And you just don't know if there's any manhole covers that are up. So if we're walking, we have to be careful with that, not to go into those areas.
We had to use payloaders, anything that was a taller profile vehicle to try to get through the water. And even with some of those, the largest vehicles we could get, we could not make it to some houses.
In 2014, Rock Valley was hit with a flood that saw about 16 feet of water sweep through the town. In preparation, residents set out sandbags on their berm to bring it up to a foot above what they experienced a decade ago, but it was no match for the 22 feet of water that came rushing in.
We got as prepared as we could. We were hoping that was going to hold it, but the level just kept going up. And when we got that much rain, it started coming in from the sides, and we just couldn't hold it.
Right now, we're just praying that the water goes down, and we hope it recedes as fast as it came up.
Thousands of fans of P-pop girl group Beanie joined the Beanie Run on Sunday in Manila. Group members led the marathon, which started from the Quirino Grandstand and looped along Rojas Boulevard. The Beanie Run is part of Manila's founding anniversary celebration. It also comes ahead of Beanie's first solo concert, Beanieverse, happening from June 28 to June 30. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 9 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Pauline Verzosa. We are One News.